I know that we're going to have some of our other coaches and some of the folks in our Fit New Life network are going to be coming on a little bit, in a little bit. But right now, let's go ahead and get this thing started with the 6 folks on this screen. So let's just go and introduce ourselves. I guess we'll start with Kareem. You're on my left. So if you want to go ahead and start and introduce yourself.
No problem. Good evening, everybody. My name is Kareem Stain. I am co-president of Pain Artistry. We basically started Pain Artistry to bring artists together to create art. We have branched off into several other different things. Our mantra is own your struggle. So what our biggest thing is to motivate artists to do just that, which is own your struggle, not give up, and continue to pursue your artistry and stay creative. We right now, I said we branched off. We have an app called Opus View. It's the world's only Black travel and art app. It's available on everything like that on all platforms. We get content. We create our own content. We have a travel docuseries, and we have done a couple of documentaries that have won over 20 different, gotten into 20 different film festivals selections and won awards. So yeah, that's a little about me.
Awesome. All right. And below you on my screen is Dr. Maisha Akbar.
Good evening, everyone. I am Maisha Akbar, Dr. Akbar. I am first of all, I have a few titles, so I'll run through those quickly. Then I'll talk about.
Let's go, boss lady.
All right. So I am a professor of performance studies at Fort Valley State University, where I'm also chair of the Culture and Communications Department. And I'm director of our Social Justice Center there as well. I'm the author of a couple of books. One is an academic book, Preaching the Blues, Black Feminist Performance in Lynching Plays. And then I'm also the author of Billionaires Prefer Single Moms. It's my personal development platform. That's what I'm going to. Well, interestingly, my passion and my purpose and my profession, they all intermingle. So, all this is relevant.
That not everybody is so blessed. So that's good that you're able to do that. We got to talk more about that.
Sure. So praise God. So yes, I did write Billionaires Prefer Single Moms, a single mom's guide to what I have to read it, purpose, prosperity, and partnership. And so that's where I share my journey to all those titles.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And then underneath you, Maisha, is Sam from Sam Says. So come on, Samantha Danielle, what's going on? Traveling right now?
Yes,
I'm coming on. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I'm headed to our hometown, represent for the Nola girls one time.
You know what I mean?
Yes, so absolutely. But just to share a little bit about me, my name is Samantha Tyus, but I go by Sam Says on social media. Sam Says was a platform, God-given platform that came out of nothing but pain and redirection. It came from a point in time where God broke my heart to save my life. And instead of me allowing that narrative to consume me of brokenness and dysfunction or domestic violence or trauma, I made the conscious decision to live every day, striving towards everything that was hindering me from being who I was at that point in time. And so what it just really does is just help me really see God in everything and stay grounded. So that's how the Sam Says came about. But initially it started off with just me going live and sharing different revelations that I got, through life experiences, conversations, encounters. But now it has evolved to an ebook that you can retrieve on www.samsaysmotivations.com.
You better put that plug in.
There's somebody along with inspirational t-shirts. So it's really a movement. And I don't put it in a box, but I just want to make sure that whatever life experiences I've had, I'm using it in every resource that I have to be a light, a help, and strength to somebody else, because I believe we're all helpers one to another.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So to the right, to my right, there is Dr. Ness. So let me introduce yourself. Hey, welcome.
Hi. Yes, I was, I'm a mom first, so I just got in. But yes, I am Dr. Ness. I am a real doctor, but I work specifically with bonus moms or stepmoms in a blended family. So the women I work with, they're working through this journey, and I am there to mentor them or guide them through this journey. I am a bio mom to 3 children, 2 teenagers and a 1-year-old, and a bonus mom to a teenager. So together we have 4 children, and I just love being with my family, and that's why what I do is what I do.
Yeah. All right, well, welcome. Thank you for coming. All right, and then right above Dr. Ness is Cicely Cicero. So come on, girl, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Cicely Cicero. I'm currently from Springfield, but I reside in Dallas, Texas right now. I'm currently a clinical therapist, and I still work for Springfield, actually, for a private practice. But I will be starting my own private practice eventually. I just got settled here. It's been 5 months that I've been living in Texas, so I'll be starting my private practice soon. Trying to get settled, get familiar with the area. I'll be starting my private practice here in Texas. So what I do that, I work from home. I'm working with individuals and trying to tap into, understand their emotions and their past traumas, and just looking at their traumas differently and their emotions and living a positive life. So that's what I do. I'm a mom to a 4-year-old who's always by my side, and I got a fur baby who is my baby as well. So that's me.
Awesome. And as y'all know, I'm Coach Brandy Neck, and I'm the founder and lead coach of Fit New Life brands and Fit New Life coaching. And I'm a health coach, behavior change specialist, a certified personal trainer. And more than anything, I just like to say that I'm somebody who likes to have my inner peace. I like to keep my inner peace, and I like to show others how to do the same. Just thinking about my personal journey of just kind of like trauma and being unhappy for such a long time, and kind of, getting into my adulthood and trying to really figure out, and it was not easy to figure out, how do I just be happy and healthy? And that was a decade. Actually, it was a lifetime struggle for me. And I can say within the past decade or so, I really started to unlock the keys to that. And so that's what I do, is just essentially sharing what I know. And then, of course, getting the education to back that, so that I have a framework to bring it to the people. Okay. So, all right. So listen, I'm so excited to start this conversation. I want to do these, let's talk about different subjects and different topics that relate to the different 8 dimensions of wellness. And just to remind us all, right, of the 8 dimensions of wellness framework that we use, we're talking about physical wellness, intellectual, emotional wellness and mental health, environmental, financial, occupational, spiritual, and social wellness. So all those different things, when they're kind of working in harmony, provide us with the best kind of life experience. And so, little by little, changing behaviors one at a time, listening to stories and influenced by people who have been through these things, experts who are coaching folks within this network and who are doing our programs. This is how we really can enact change. So I'm really grateful for everybody on this screen. And I know Bravo is supposed to join us. I don't know, maybe he'll show up. We'll see. He's in a different country than us. So So we shall see what happens there. But just, for everybody, the coaches that are on this screen and the coaches who are not on this screen, because we also have people in our network and doing retreats and doing programs and stuff for us that are not on this screen. A huge thank you to all of us, each and every one of you. And Kareem, I know you're not doing any retreats or any coaching or anything with us, but you're in our network and you're a friend of us. So thank you for being here with your beautiful mind. Okay. All right. So we're talking about mindset and success, right? And let's just get right into it. So, when I was thinking about this particular talk, it was a lot about like, what are the different mentalities that need to kind of take lead, right? Like they need to take ownership in your own life in order for you to be able to face all the different obstacles that come along with a success journey, right? And I don't mean necessarily like money, right? Like successful meaning money. I mean, success meaning all of those wellness dimensions that I mentioned, right? So it's like, if you're talking about to be successful, successfully making friends, like what did that look like, right? Or successfully getting the job that you wanted to, or quitting the job that you don't like, or, or finding love or finding meaningful relationships, all of those different things. What did that look like? So I first want to go around and kind of get a sense of where everybody feels like their mind is normally, right? Like, where's your mind at? Are you more in a positive mindset? Are you, do you find yourself creeping up with some limitations, or are you thinking, no, I'm going to be limitless? Like, where are y'all at with that? And we don't have to go in any particular order. So whoever feels like they want to jump in, like, let's go on right ahead and start it.
Well, I'll start. I can honestly say that I'm a very determined person. So I really try to keep a positive mindset. Like, we know that every day, like, life hits us with bad news, whatever's going on in the world, our family, our friends. But regardless of what's going on, I really try to stay determined. I try to stay positive, prayerful. Like that's like my foundation right there. I really do try to stay very prayerful and focused regardless of what's going on. I do get, we're normal, we're human. So we do have those emotions that do try to creep in. But I always try to remember, like, what am I really doing this for? Like, and who am I really doing this for? And what if I do slip and fall, and if I do fail, like, I know I could get back up again. I know that I could try again. I know that, life happens. It's okay. I'm pretty sure there were people before me that failed, or this happened to them, so I try not to let, like, my bad days outweigh, the good days.
It also sounds like you're reframing. It sounds like you're doing a lot of reframing too, right? Like, even if something, like, for instance, a failure, we always talk about failing forward, for instance.
Right.
So,
Right.
Instead of saying like, oh man, I don't know, let's say I was trying not to have sweets at night, and like, dang, I had some sweets at night,
Right.
like, where's the lesson in that? There's a lesson somewhere, like, because soaking is not really necessarily going to help you achieve that tomorrow or the next day, right? So, like, where do you take from that, and how do you move forward and stay in a positive mindset, as opposed to being like, you know what, I'm a failure, I'm just gonna stop everything? Because let's be real, that's what happens to a lot of people. Like, it's all or nothing, right? But that's not necessarily healthy. So yeah, I appreciate that. Any other like ways that folks, stay on the path to success with certain things aside from the positive mindset?
Well, I think it's important to challenge your perspective, because what I've learned in my adulthood is that there's a fine line between contentment and complacency. Like, you want to be content with where you are, but you don't want to become complacent and stay there too long. So the important thing is identifying when it's time to grow and recognizing when the shift is taking place in your life, whether it be organically, and sometimes it's even happening against your will. You still have to be able to recognize it and flow with it. And so what I've learned more recently, because I on my career path, I've always had some sort of career that was performance based. And the challenge with always being in a performance based environment is that you're constantly in a mode of hitting a target that's constantly moving. So if you are never able to actually hit the target, then you never really reach a point of gratification where you recognize the importance of celebrating the small wins. So in all of those areas of life that you were mentioning, whether it be social, economical, in your family, in your health, all those things, I'm learning the importance of, once I get to a certain place, recognize it. And if it's better than where I used to be, celebrate it. I don't care if it's a pound lighter. I don't care if I'm able to save an extra $20 a week. I don't care if it's my 401k hit a certain target, whatever it is, because now I'm constantly in the mode of saying, girl, you did that. And what happens is when you congratulate yourself, you shift modes from constantly needing to feel some sort of validation or recognition from other people and other sources. And especially at, being a mother, being a wife, being all of those different, being a boss, people are relying on you to make quick decisions. And oftentimes what happens is you get decision-making overload. So when it's time for you to make a decision for you, you don't even know how to do that no more.
Yeah, like what am I supposed to do?
Everybody.
And you know what? And that's the thing I think is so beautiful about you, Sam, because, when I invite you to conversation, I thought, right, when I was thinking, how do I see y'all, right? Like in terms of what stands out to me, what's communicated to me in terms of how you're thinking. And for you, I really thought like, she's always grateful, just like always able to find gratitude in the situations and you touched on it, which is why I'm like, see, that's so beautiful, because I think that gratitude piece also adds to happiness. And if you're happy, it's like, come on, now that's a positive energy state. That's where we're on the right wavelength now, so what we know about that, well, that's just going to attract more of that. So yeah, that gratitude mindset is extremely important. I'm glad you brought that up.
And Sam said a few things that were very powerful, that are now even being written about as kind of, you might think of it as a meme, in a way. But one of the things that she said that struck me was, focusing on what you've gained and not what you have to go, or the gap, the gain versus the gap. And that is, and gratitude is tied into that. Always, keeping the perspective of, okay, you may not have hit your target or your goal, or you may not be where you want to be, but in the process of trying, you have learned and you have gained some skills and some knowledge. And so focusing on that, and being grateful for that is important in a mindset. And the last thing I want to say is that mindset, being positive is a habit, and, and a skill, and it's skill. And just like any other skill, it takes 10,000 hours to cultivate, so there's a lot of falling down and getting back up. And there's a lot of kind of, coming back to what, even if you fell off for a while. So, just stay encouraged in terms of it takes a while to cultivate, it as a reflex. It's not natural per se, especially because of all the pressures that we deal with, from society. So, you have to just, it's a skill that you have to continue to work on. And then, recently, just a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, I was talking to somebody who's close to me, and they said something that was triggering, in only the way that only people who are close to you can, and so it triggered me, but immediately I went to a scriptural reference to heal myself. It was so automatic, and it was so, just a reflex almost. And I'm very grateful that I'm at the point now where, as soon as I was triggered, I had a reference that, that I could heal myself with and refer to and use, so that I didn't kind of, get upset.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And that's, yeah, that's powerful. Really, really powerful stuff. The skill thing, right? And I think, Maisha, the thing that you said that really I wanna accentuate is that we tend to not have the positivity as a natural state for us. We tend to lean towards the negative. And what I understand about that, and Cicely, I would love to hear your input on this, because what I understand from that is that our brain is going to protect us from things. So when we're talking about threats and potential threats, right? It's like we're going to remember those negative things that are harmful to us more than we're going to remember the things that give us joy. And we have a tendency to hold on to that. So when we go to the negative, it is our brain's way of protecting us in this really weird way, but us being like elevated creatures, like we should just know, like, okay, brain. Okay, I always say, like, I got to talk to my mind, right? Like, okay, listen, I get that you're trying to take care of me. Like, I understand that you're trying to protect me. I get it, but I got this. We're good. Let's switch on that other side of this, so we can look at this from a different perspective. And that's what you were able to do. So it's is that kind of, am I getting that right?
Yeah, you're saying it, because this is exactly what I try to like drill to my clients. Like, we are so conditioned to think negative. Like, it's comfortable. We're comfortable there. It's an easy way. It's easy to go that way. We rather believe the negative thoughts and sit right there with it than to just be like, no, you know what? I don't want to believe that. I rather, let me actually think about what was said to me or what actually triggered me. And like you said, you went to the resource, you went to something that you knew can actually heal that pain or that hurt, instead of like revert into the negative emotion. Some people don't know how to do that or they don't want to. They know how to, but they don't want to because of the condition. It's all about condition. We are comfortable in that condition. Because like you said, our brain, the way that our brain works, but it's all about rewiring that brain. And we know how to do it. It's just the skill, you have to, it's what you do every day. It's a routine. It's in your daily routine. You have to realize, if you tell yourself, I say this every day. If you wake up every day and say, oh my God, I am so tired. I'm going to have a bad day. What do you think is going to happen?
Had that bad day that you're trying to
exactly. It's as simple as that. It starts as waking up and saying, I'm going to have a bad day, but it's just the fact that if you wake up and say, you know what, I'm not going to have a bad day. I'm going to have a good day. If you wake up and actually I do this every morning. I wake up and I go in my little private space and I open up my Bible app. That's a routine for me. That's exactly what I do. So therefore, whatever battles or any struggles that come at me after I walk out of my private space, I already done read my devotion. I said my prayer, so that's how I'm going to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm conditioned to positively handle it that way. I'm not gonna revert to the negative emotion and the negative thoughts, because that's not how my mind is conditioned.
Something that was a great call out too is that she recognized her trigger, and I think that the self-awareness piece should be highlighted as well.
Yes,
absolutely. So Kareem, I wanted to talk to you, brother, about creativity, right? I'm thinking, to do what you do, right? I mean, and I think about the creative mindset, to me is so miraculous, because to me, this is like where we are closest to that infinite intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where when you just can create something out of nothing. Can you talk to us a little bit about like how that works, not just in your career, but just kind of like how you tap into that in life?
Well, what it is that, so Pain Artistry, myself, Maurice, who's my business partner, we really started this where we are right now in 2019. We haven't been doing this for 20 years, 15 years, whatever the case is. But what it is that we've always been creatives. we actually, we haven't done it since COVID, but we used to go into a class and we used to teach like a small seminar on, they had something called Men's and Women's Day, where they separate all the children, the boys with the boys and the women with the women, kind of go through different classes and seminars. We taught it on creativity. And what I always said is that you have the creative portion of your brain there from the beginning. And I told the kids, I said, you know, when you are lying to your mother or creating that story, you don't want to do that, but it's being creative. So you just have to be able to understand that when you are being creative, and just try to really tap into that creativity at all times and realize it. It's just like everybody is saying, it's a repetitive, you know, you just got to keep doing it over and over. And you have to realize when that creativity is being sparked. Our logo that I have behind us, it's basically a symbol of creativity. You know, it's basically that idea that you have in your head, and writing that idea down. Yeah, writing that idea down, and then just taking the steps to kind of cultivate that.
Yeah, there's so many people I feel like I talk to that they just feel like their creativity died with their childhood. You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
They just are like, listen, I don't know how to be creative. I have no idea. Or they were discouraged. And see, that's the saddest part too. Like when people are discouraged by the adults that are in their life when they are children, right? So then they don't dream. Like today I did a workshop. I did a workshop for a group, and we did an exercise that tapped into the yes and. So it's like you have an idea, you have to say the idea, and nobody can say no. Like there's no idea that's not a good idea. There's no idea that like can't happen, right? So this is about also going into being limitless, right? But your imagination, you tap into that by saying like, hey, I want to go on this big trip. Yes. And while we're there, we should go, you know, skydiving. Yes. And when we're skydiving, we should, you know, I don't know, do somersault and all these like fun things that spark the, you know, the creative imagination that at the end of it, they were like, whoa, okay, we got some really good ideas. And in this case, they needed the ideas for something else that's a little bit more concrete. So we, you know, we refined the ideas after, but just having that is something they were like, wow, I didn't know I could think that big. You see what I'm saying?
You know what? And you know what the big thing is that I find with creatives and non-creatives is that when it comes to creativity and success, they think perfection. They look at Beyonce, they look at you know, any of these other artists that are out there who are at the top of their game, and they think that I have to be that in order to be successful. I have to be that in order to be creative. And that's not the case.
Gym 7 days a week,
2
hours every gym session. You know, I gotta be eating just salads every day, no dressing, lemon juice and olive oil.
Right. Yes, exactly. And that's the whole thing is that, and anyone, you know, anyone and anything that you do. And again, this is what we teach the kids is that anything that you do, you are being creative. You know, I'll give something that a lot of people know about. When you don't have money, you tend to get real creative when you don't have money. You know what I mean? And people don't realize that. They don't recognize it as creativity. They recognize it as, oh, I'm just doing what I got to do. That's your mind figuring out a creative way for you to move on to the next thing. So again, it's just about harnessing that energy and staying positive. That's the big thing. And again, just write it down and chip away at it, which is something that I'm even learning. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned writing it down. So I wanna use that as a nice segue to kind of tools and resources that you all use to get into the positive mindset. You know, when we're talking about how do we go into our successful lives, right? Like what does that look like? What are the tools? So you mentioned writing things down is a tool, Kareem, that you like to use. What else do we got going on? How we got Bravo? Hold on now. Bravo, how are you on? I'm looking at the Instagram thing and Bravo is on the Instagram.
Oh,
not-
I know.
and not on the Zoom. Bravo, get to that Zoom link. We put it in a group chat. Oh man, my guy. All right. So anyway, yeah, like what does that look like for people, right? So the writing things down, if you want to elaborate on that, or if anybody else has other tools that that
I use my phone. I'm trying to get into more writing things down because it helps you actually embed it in your brain. But I use my phone a lot. I use voice notes because what it is, and for all the, I'm speaking to everyone, but all the artists and creatives out there, there's a lazy part in your brain that's like, I don't want to write it down. Use technology, use your voice notes, use whatever you can. Just get that thing on something, write it down later. But what I find sometimes is going through my phone, it's like, oh man, I forgot that I put that there. But yeah, use that. I'm a visual learner. I watch a lot of videos, to get inspiration. I like listening to people speak and getting it, basically using their stories that may not have anything to do with me, but it may resonate with me in whatever struggles that I'm dealing with on a daily basis.
Awesome. Good. A lot of gems there. What else do people use when they're getting into that positive mindset?
To piggyback or to expand on what Kareem said, I also listen to interviews, of what I call like greats, people that were great in whatever arena it is, whether it's a musician, an artist, an athlete, anything, whatever a person that is, I consider a great. I listen to old interviews. And so I don't necessarily resonate with, their lifestyle or what they do, but their mindset. Listening to how they overcome stuff, listening to situations where they had to be creative and like, our backs were against the wall. We didn't know what to do, but this is what we did. And look at us now, or, whoever the individual is. I do that a lot. And I also listen to affirmations every single day. I listen to them and I repeat them every day because my aunt used to always say to us, know thyself, love thyself. And so when you know who you are and you truly love yourself from within, I feel like there is nothing that you cannot do. Or maybe I rephrase that. You can do everything that you want to do. So
that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah.
So now, we talk about how I love that you don't put any limitations on yourself, and so I've never met, honestly. So there are a few people that I know that are just like, I can do whatever I want to do and truly believe it. Right now, Ness is one of these people. And I think I asked you once I asked you, I was like, did you always know that you wanted, you're like, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor. I just did exactly what I wanted to do. And like, you just said that you saw it and you went for it, and everything that you've ever wanted, you've been able to manifest. And that is, that's a skill in and of itself, but it seemed to have come so naturally to you. So what can other people learn? Like if we had to give something practical that people could use to get into that mindset of just being limitless and making sure that not even a mustard seed of doubt is showing up in their brain chemistry, right? How do you do that? How would I do that if I
I say spend time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. You can do 5 minutes every day. You could do an hour every day, whatever that looks like to you, but just spend time with yourself, right? No TV. Maybe you could do soft music if you like, but like a form of meditation, just listen to yourself. Know who you are on the inside. Know what it is that you desire, and then just see it happening for yourself. And I promise you, that's just how it happens. I don't want to say that it's simple, but that's what it is. When you spend time with yourself,
it's for you, so you don't even think about it. So it is simple for you, and it's probably simple once you get into the routine of it.
Yes,
it's hard to start in the beginning.
I'm sorry to interrupt. They said, was it 21 days of doing something is what it takes to?
Oh wait, can we bust that myth wide open real quick though? Can we talk about how that's not really a myth real quick? So
that's what I've always heard. That's what I've always heard.
No. So that's what the rumor is Kareem, you're not wrong. That's the rumor, but it's not.
Right.
So
That's
I mean,
not a fact.
yeah.
It's not a fact. It's a
So
misconception.
Yeah, so there's been tons of like
what's excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but what is the counter? So it's not 21 days, but what is there a formula, or what do you all
it's
say? The counter argument.
it's around 66 days for a lot of people, but really that's not even for everybody. So around, so for some people it can be 21 days, so that's not the average person. The average person is going to be more around 66 days or somewhere between 2 and 3 months. The 3-month marker is a little bit safer, but for some people it's going to be 135 days. For some people it's going to be a full year. So it's like, if you're working on a habit and you hit 21 days and you're like, dang, this hasn't clicked yet, it's okay. You're not a failure. Like, just keep on trying. And it's the same with 66 days. And you get there and you're like, okay, work at it for 3 months, every single day. And this is the key too. It's like, you can't just put in the time and not put in the work. You see what I'm saying? So 3 months go by and you haven't been working at this every single day. Well, then how do you expect your routine that you're trying to develop to actually become a habit? It's going to be very difficult, right? So, and the journey to habit change is riddled with setbacks, and then learning from those setbacks and moving forward and all of that stuff. So sorry, Kareem, to do that, but we just
no. You listen. The only reason I said that is someone told me that one time, and I remember I was doing a particular diet, and it was like on like the 25th day, I was like, it was kind of became routine. So like you said, the habit forming, but you're right. Some people it takes more than that. So absolutely. Yeah. I'm in agreement.
But if you're every single day doing something consistently, like, that's really what it is, because you want, like, the first thing that you do is you get into your routine. So even like Maisha mentioned earlier, the 10,000 hours to develop the skill to be masterful at something, and how the mindset and even like being positive is a skill that has to be developed because it comes unnatural for a lot of people. Right. And so thinking about all of that stuff, we really have to reframe how we think about, success, how we think about these routines that we're trying to develop. Those routines at some point become habits. And the difference between the routine and the habit is that the habit, we don't think about it anymore. We're just automatically in that mindset. Something comes up for you and automatically you're reaching to the tools that you got. You don't have to think about it. You've already accessed them and it starts to work for you. Like, that's the main difference. When you're getting into the routine, which is where we basically all start with it, we have to think about it. We have to think consciously about it. Okay, hold up now. My positivity is being tested. What do I have, to reach into? And sometimes we fall out of the good habit that we've got going because somebody just really tried you or something just really tested you that day. And that happens. And that goes for when we're trying to be successful at losing weight. When I'm thinking about my clients, successful at losing weight, trying to be successful at breaking certain addictions, trying to be successful at getting off of certain medications, just being in a healthier state, or getting more money, or making friends, like all these other things, we can apply this to all of those different scenarios. So, the rule of it all still stays the same, but it's not 21 days. Let's just say that out there for the people. It ain't 21 days. Oh, child. I don't know. Who came up with that, but it is like the hardest thing to unteach people, because you're like, everybody uses it because it's cute. It wraps up real neat. 21-day challenge, this 21. And you know what? I'm not mad at it, because at least you got somebody to do something positive and good for themselves for 21 days. But, at the end of it, everybody's like, oh, well, what's up, Sam?
I was saying maybe it's a spectrum. Maybe if it's like you super, super dedicated and focused, then maybe you can hit around the 21-day mark. But maybe the spectrum of the 66 days is more realistic for the people who, are allowed to kind of like, or who want to happen more organically as opposed to cramping it. You know what I mean? Like, because
every time I've heard it was military.
It was
Every time
military.
I've heard it was from a military person. So,
21 days.
again, it's a different mindset. It's a different mindset.
Yeah,
So,
you're in the military. You're gonna be on it every day. That is a different mind. You're gonna be on that every single day. So yeah, no, and not for nothing, right? Like this is just all based on research, right? So for some people, and I think you're right, Sam, too, it is that spectrum of some folks are gonna get it in 21 days. To be honest with you, some people are gonna get it less than that. Some people are going to get it in a week. Some people are going to make their mind up on one day. The next day they're going to be able to flow into it. Right. So it depends on a lot of things, but the 21 days sounds good. It's 3 weeks. It doesn't feel like too much of a commitment. And we tend to, as humans, just stray away from long-term commitments to things. So it feels comfortable. We like to feel good and comfortable and safe sometimes, but change isn't safe. Success isn't safe. There's risk involved in all of those things. There are stakes involved in making that journey to success, and we have to be willing to take that on. All right, let's talk.
And also, I was gonna say just one more thing, just in the detachment. That's what it came up for me when we're talking too, is that, in going through this process, it's a journey. It's the saying, life is a journey, not a destination. Yeah. And so, even in embarking on it, whether it's 21 days or 2 months, you do it and you can't be attached to it. And the interesting thing, like I say, even when I talked about being triggered the other day, and my mind immediately shift, and I was like, wow, that just happened. I didn't, and so, so the thing was, though, is just to keep doing it. You got it, you know what I mean? And you don't know when it's going to kick in. That's the interesting thing. That's what makes it exciting. So if you, look at it as a journey, your healing is a journey, or any goal is a journey, not a destination, because you can't watch it. You can't watch a cook. What is it? You can't watch a cook pot or whatever. But anyway, so you have to just, just stay engaged, and that's the challenge, just to stay engaged. And then, the success happens, I guess, at an unexpected hour,
Yeah.
Just to expand on what Dr. Maisha said, I think the success is actually the journey, right? Because once you get to that destination, you might have a quick oh, okay, yeah, I did it. But you learn so much more throughout the process. You learn so much more on the journey. And then it's okay, what's the next journey? What's the next thing I'm, going to challenge myself to achieve or, obtain? So I think the success to me is in the journey itself.
I just want to say something really quick, guys.
Yeah.
This is again about creativity. That's literally how our pitch for our travel series starts. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Literally, that's crazy. Dr. Maisha said that, and I was like, this is nuts.
Nice.
Cool. Well, wisdom is, it applies to everything.
Think about it. That leads me to the point that I wanted to make about when Brandy was talking about the tools that we use. And y'all were talking about writing and, listening to affirmations, which are all well and good in and of itself. And when you're alone, those are perfect tools to have. But one of my favorite tools that I love is community. And I know people don't see that as a tool, but that's exactly kind of like what we're doing right now. So iron sharpens iron, and then we kind of bring continuity to a lot of the things that we've learned throughout our journeys. But then there's a portion of, sometimes when there's these empowerment seminars, and they may seem a little cliche, and not all of them may seem like, the most ideal setups. But what I learned is that there's this broad spectrum of people that are on various aspects of these journeys. Some people that may just be starting out, some people that may have mastered the portion that you need the most help with. And so you're able to be a support to some of those who may be even in the embryonic stage that aren't even at your point. And in that encounter, you're learning to appreciate where you are. And then in the encounter of you being able to see somebody who's mastered it, there's representation of the part of you that wants to excel, right? So community brings about all these different facets that kind of makes it make sense for all of us in each and every part of where we are. We can affirm, we can write down, we can do all those things because it's important to build up and fortify your own foundation. But we can't forget about how, you know, things, organic connections happen, and there's so much that we can glean from and so much that we can pour into as well, just to kind of help make that journey what it is and find the beauty in it for everybody.
Absolutely. It's a good point. It's a good point. You know, I talk a lot about inner peace because for me, you know, especially because, and I'm, you know, honest about the anxiety and all that stuff, like that first and foremost, I have to calm the anxiety there's a lot that comes up for me in terms of being on, you know, the success journey. It's not a clean and, you know, and smooth and easy and pretty and neat journey to get from point A to point B. It's not always like that, right? And so in that, I always am using my meditation. I know some of y'all were mentioning prayer, you know, those kind of things. I introspect. I've been doing a lot of baths, you know, like in terms of getting back into a positive, like a lot of soaks with the Epsom salts, and I like spas and the massages and just working because for me, my emotions also live in my body. Right. And so then what ends up happening is that my muscles are tense, you know, and maybe my stomach is upset and all these things. And so I have to think about relaxing my mind and my body at the same time because they're connected. Right. I have to think about what I'm eating. Can we talk about that for a second? I have to think about what I'm eating, right? Am I eating the right things that are going to give me the right mental state? Because there is a mind-gut connection that we don't always think about, right? And so, you know, making sure that is a part of the conversation as well. Are you eating a whole bunch of processed foods, greasy, you know, sweet, things that aren't good for you? Or are you eating nutritious foods that are minimally processed, that are giving your body what it needs and aiding the whole process, you know, aiding the process of digestion, and then having that good, healthy gut to mind connection, that mind connection that helps you be more positive, that positivity that helps you be more successful. And so it's like, all right, Dr. Ness, I'm not lying, right? Like, tell the people.
You're speaking the truth. You're speaking my language. You are speaking the truth. You really are.
We got to think about that.
I ate it. I felt so bad after I ate that Sonic. I had to take an immediate nap. And I was just thinking, like, I haven't eaten this kind of stuff in so long, but you know, I craved it. But then the regret, I had that moment of regret afterwards, like, dang, like, girl, this ain't what we do.
Well, let me tell you how old was I when I found out that the itis wasn't a natural part of I didn't even know. Listen, when I was like, oh yeah, you're supposed to eat good and then go to sleep. Okay, now I'm like, now see, this is the thing about culture. Okay, now this is the thing about culture. How many of us heard from different people, don't have to be, you know, your parents or your grandparents or whoever raised you, but how many of us have heard from somebody, oh yeah, they ate good, they over there napping, they laid out, they ate real good. You ain't eat good, you ate too much, that's why you're sleepy.
Exactly.
Your food did not energize you, it drained you.
Your body has to work too hard to break down the stuff that it shouldn't be consuming.
Yes.
So it needs to rest so that it can do that.
Yeah, because we're doing too much. That's what it is, because we're doing entirely too much. So next time that we go and we eat that big family dinner, we going for the holidays or whatever, we celebrating, we feasting. Keep in mind that you start to get tired after that, you know what you done did. Okay, and that's not going to be helpful to your positive mindset. Because like Sam said, you said immediately you regretted it. And that's not probably because you overate, it's probably because of how you felt. Right? So, oh yeah, I think she's frozen. Okay.
It was exactly because of how I felt.
Okay.
I hadn't.
Uh-oh, you're freezing for us. You're freezing.
One thing can I circle back to something else Sam said about community?
Of course,
and
yeah.
and where community, my responsibility to my community is what keeps me in moving forward. Like there's a saying that says, those amongst you, the best among you are those who contribute to their community. And that really inspired me a lot. I mean, just to share, that a tool, a saying. I go by quotes. I read a lot. And so these quotes are helpful in giving me a framework to think about things. So in thinking about my contribution to a community, as an academic, there's several communities I have to contribute to, right? And so, it makes me creative. It spurs my creativity. Like, wow, okay, so how can I add to this conversation? What do I have to add to it? And how can I contribute positively? How can I contribute? Yeah, and in a way that moves things along as well. So I liked what Sam said about community and that being positive, and also I'm into healthy community, not toxic community, right? Yeah. And so how do you facilitate that change, and how do you contribute in a healthy way?
Awesome. And so just to be mindful of the time, we have about 6 more minutes left. So I want to go to kind of like our last guiding question. And that question is, why is the mindset or our mental states, why is it so important to achieving success? Like, why is it important that we have this conversation? What does this mean for folks who are on a behavior change journey or on a wellness journey, or just trying to be living their best lives and are having a hard time and they know they need to start somewhere? Why is it important that we, first of all, try to figure out where is our head at? What is that about? So if we could all just, take a moment and answer that question, I think that would be a good place to start to wrap things up.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead because y'all know my coverage is crazy while I'm on this road.
Okay.
But, so I'm gonna just say the devil be tripping. That's why it's important, because the devil he be trying it. So that's the short, Sam answer. But the fact of the matter is that life happens, and with our daily existence, there are going to always be influences and occurrences that happen to counteract with everything that we are insisting to do. I can give you the most plainest example is right now there's an organizational shift taking place on my job. And there are a lot of tenured people that may or may not be affected by it, but because they're not accustomed to change, and then the new way of how corporate America is, there's been a lot of negative talks, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger. And then when I communicated with some of my counterparts and my colleagues in another state, they're excited. They're building their 30, 60, 90-day plans. They're talking about, the possibilities of transferring into another position and promoting and same exact concept, but 2 totally different perspectives. And the only difference is the change is going to happen whether we wanted to or not. But there's people over here that are preparing for the shift, that are taking advantage of whatever opportunities that lie within the shift. And then there's other people over here that are choosing to take more of a, gossipy, negative, downtrodden approach. So we can go through the shift one way or the other. Which path are you going to take? And for me, because I'm in the midst of the ones who aren't receiving the shift so well, I found myself being inundated with these influences, right? That caused me to not have the right mindset. And so it's important and imperative for the things that we discussed today for me to put them in place right now, because I want that shift to work for me. And the thing about it is, even those negative impacts, they will work for you positively if you allow them. But they will also be your demise and become a distraction if you allow them. So it's very important.
That's right. Whichever path you choose is going to get you to that destination, right? Whatever you're looking for is going to come to pass. Yeah. Good. All right. So who else has, I mean, we all gonna talk on it, but okay, you wanna go
Yeah.
next? Go ahead.
Really the mindset with me is that it's hard. It's difficult. This is a difficult thing to do. Whatever you're trying to, whatever level you're trying to get to, it's always a difficulty. So you have to have the correct mindset so that whenever you have these roadblocks, you're able to overcome them. If you have a negative mindset, the first roadblock that comes, you're going to turn back. So I think that the mindset is the most important thing. And that's the biggest thing that I speak to a lot of artists about, is that, they have the mindset of, okay, I've been doing this for this long and I had this roadblock. That's it. I'm not going to go any further. I'm not going to go any further. But if you have the mindset to just take a look back real quick and see what you have done to get to that point, that's what's going to keep going. So again, I think the mindset is extremely important because the journey is difficult. If it's easy, you wouldn't want to do it. And people don't realize that, but if the journey was easy, you wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
Hey, when you say that it's difficult, in my mind, I say that it's easy. So if I tell myself that it's easy, then it's going to be easy. That's just how I think, right? And so there was a saying that said,
"Limitless, Dr. Ness." I'm telling you, don't know. It's
true. Like it's a saying that if you say that it's easy, there's two people. One person says it's easy, one person says it's difficult, and they're both correct, right? Because it's about your mindset. If you tell yourself that it's going to be difficult, then you're going to expect difficulties along the way. If you tell yourself that it's easy, then you're setting that vibration of, okay, whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen, and it's just going to happen the way it's supposed to happen that way, and it's easy for me. So for me, I don't ever say that anything is difficult, right? I say that it's going to happen the way it's supposed to happen, and I expect, great outcomes. I'm grateful for and I'm not saying that that there aren't going to be challenges along the way, but I tell myself, okay, there's a lesson in this challenge. Right. Once I'm over that challenge, I'm grateful that I was able to overcome that challenge. And you know what? I look back and I say, wow, that wasn't that bad.
And that's the mentality that you should, that Dr. Ness's mentality is the mentality that you need. Right. So what Dr. Ness is speaking on is her mindset approaching it. What I'm speaking on is it is difficult. But Dr. Ness is saying, I'm not going to say it's difficult because then I'm not going to be able to get through this journey. I'm just going to turn back as soon as I get the first roadblock. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It is easy. You're correct. But yes.
And see, my mindset is success. That's it. It's just success. Success is the mindset. That's just it.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Okay. So even if I do fail, guess what? I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna just keep on trying it again and again until I succeed, because it's always going to be success. Like even if I fail, even if I fail, I know that my mindset is still success. That's why my IG name is Successfully Sis. Like that's just it. No matter what, it's going to be success, regardless. I don't care what it looks like. When we decided that we were going to move, right? I think everybody thought when we got up and moved 5 months ago, it looked so easy to everyone. When we got here to Texas, they're like, "Why y'all making it look like it's so easy?" We planned it out. It wasn't just like, all right, we getting up, we leaving, that's it. No, it was a plan. We planned it out, and it was a successful plan. It was a very successful plan. So did we have some little, did we think okay, if this plan fails, what are we going to do? We're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out, because at the end of the day, we said that we were going to have a successful move, and that's exactly what we did. But if we didn't have a successful move, we were still going to figure out how we could still have a successful move. That's the mind.
There was no other option.
There was no other option. It's all. So regardless, success is the mindset. That's it.
Well, so I'll of the guest speakers, I'll wrap it up. I'll admit, y'all, I'm a cynic. You know what I mean? I'm such a critical thinker and a perfectionist.
To have that
right.
too.
I'm a perfectionist. I can be cynical. But like I say, the mindset is everything. I just want to reiterate what everyone has said. Mindset is everything. And but for those of us who, there's some of us that have to work on it more consciously and, and harder. And I mean, and I do. I have to work on it. I have to meditate. I have to set my goals. Even after we get off, I'm going to do my monthly goal review. I'm always studying ways to be more, to be positive. I'm always, reinforcing the skills. I mean, and thankfully, like I said, I made it. I didn't even know at first that I had to work this hard, but I really do, because, I, overcame some things and, just, and then, like I say, I'm a critical thinker and a perfectionist, and I can go down a rabbit hole and really get technical, and like this is impossible. You know what I mean? My mind can really logically go there. Like, this is impossible. But thankfully, I've counteracted that, and it wasn't even intentional, but I did. I've counteracted that with working on my mindset.
Beautiful.
So, so I believe it's everything, because the goals are really, I mean, I'm going to achieve those, but the mindset is the piece that I have to work on. And I don't think, I'm not embarrassed about that. I'm not embarrassed about the fact that I work hard on my mindset. I do. But it's everything.
No, and thank you for sharing that too, because I think sometimes, we have these kind of conversations and people are listening in or they're learning from us, right? It can be like, well, they're not living in reality, like they've already found like, I can't relate to this. And I think, you saying that is really important to being like, it's not a perfect journey and I'm still working on it, right? I think it's important for everybody to know that as professionals and experts and people that have clients and work with folks on their mindset or work with them on their success, or expanding themselves in whichever way, academically, creatively, their mental health, whatever it is that we're doing, their health and well-being, that we are also working on ourselves every single day, and as with anything, with the more practice and consistency, but it just becomes more natural. So it's like, you looking at us and all right, I'm in my flow state now, but you don't know like how hard I've worked to get to this moment right here where you see me and like, Coach Brandy is just like, she's just in her flow. This comes naturally to her. And I got to be like, no, let me tell you, it was not always this easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the things, just to kind of to wrap things up here for the whole conversation, that I do a lot of times is, and also I express this to my clients, I encourage everybody to do this, is to look back into moments where you've had strengths, like look into your strengths, moments where that you've been successful in the past, right? When you have something happening right in front of you and it feels hard and it feels like you're failing and it feels like it's too overwhelming, think back to when you've been able to conquer something very difficult, right? And so like, what were those skills that you were able to use? And then you can tap back into in a very logical, rational way, right? For those of us who are like analytical thinkers, we can tap back into that thinking like, you know what? I was able to do X, Y, and Z before. I can do this again. I can apply that same, algorithm to this. Like I can still do that. And some of us need that. Like some of us need to think about it in terms of systems, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that for folks who have that kind of mentality or that kind of, personality type, I think it's important to understand that. Dig back into your past successes to inform your future successes. But more importantly, I think keeping your imagination open to know that anything that you want in your life, if you can imagine it, it can happen, right? keeping that open, right? And not being closed-minded, but being open-minded, allowing your mind to still be malleable, to still be shaped and make new neurological connections, like to still have all of that and be able to see the future in the way that you envision and not be jaded by your past, because we're not living in the past anymore. Right. We're, you know what I'm saying? We're not living in the past. We're imagining where we want to be, and where we want to be, that's up to us to get there. Yeah. So Ness, you said you sound like you're wrapping up. Okay. Did I preach? Can the congregation say amen? Amen.
Amen. Right. Exactly. Preach. Holla and preach.
Amen.
That's right.
Okay. Any last words from y'all? Any kind of like I guess we could just go around, just last little tidbits, any kind of advice, any gems that we haven't said yet before we wrap it up?
Thank you. It was nice meeting all of you and being on a panel with you. I hope we can do it again.
Oh yeah, every month we're gonna do something. You know, it might not always be the same people, the same coaches, but we're gonna talk about some things every month. So, you know, we'll look out for that. We got an exciting topic coming. I ain't gonna say what it is. We got an exciting topic. But next, some of y'all know what it is. Ness know what it is. She gonna be talking. She gonna be leading it. She knows what it is. I ain't gonna say it though. I'm not gonna say it yet, Ness. Okay. But y'all gonna want to be there. That's all I'm gonna say. Everybody is going to want to be there. Okay. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. You know, for those of you on, I guess we could talk our Let's Talk panel. Okay, for Fit New Life. I appreciate y'all as coaches and a part of our network. Thank you for everybody who is listening to this. And we hope that you are able to get something practical, something that you could use in your life as you are on your success journey. So for now, we're just going to say bye, and we'll see you on the next live. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.